All right, guys, so I don't plow for money or anything. I just need the plow on this property. And I have a plow truck, but it's a dump truck. This skid steer is more maneuverable. So I thought it would be good to put a plow on it. And I had this old plow sitting around, and I bought this plate. This is only like $150. This is a 1/4-inch plate, and it's got a 3/8 flange on the top. So I want to mount that plow to the plate, but I want it to stay as short as possible. I don't want it like cantilevering over the front 6 feet. Most people will just attach right to these pins, but I want to cut all this off. It takes a good like 7 or 8 inches off of this, and then just attach to this plate right here. Keep it as short as possible. This is just an old plow I had laying around. It's nothing special. I probably got to do a little work to it. It's missing a spring over here. It's got a little bit of rot right here. We'll adjust that. You know what? That's too much grinding. So I'm going to take this plate off right here. I'm just going to cut it right here and right here. This plow came with 1/4-inch hoses, which is fine for these little cylinders, but I need to adapt to this skid steer, and I really haven't run the third function on this yet. I need to adapt this to a skid steer flat face adapter, and this hose is in pretty bad shape anyways. Both of them are, so I'm just gonna take it off right there and get a new hose. I got these hoses made up. They're 4 feet long. They got 1/4-inch MPT on one side and 1/2 inch on the other. That way the 1/2 inch side can go right to the flat face adapter, and the 1/4-inch side can go right to the cylinder. This is like a month later. This project has been on a hold. I've been doing work on my house, and we're getting a big snowstorm in a couple days, so I'm gonna get this thing all wrapped up right now. One thing I need to fix to continue is this auxiliary cable, the third function here. This cable here on the bottom, it slips from the mounting spot there. The spot that actually gets mounted is broken and it slips. So I'm able to go one way with the function. You go left and right with this. I'm able to go one way, but the other way, when I'm pulling on the cable, it works. But when I'm pushing on it, it just pushes that little sleeve because it's broken. I called around to get that cable and that's discontinued, but we got to make this work somehow. So I'm going to take that out and try to figure out something. So on the end of this cable, you can see part of it's like frayed. I tried to put a rubber hose around it with a bunch of zip ties, but that didn't work. It allows too much flex. So that's what we're working with right there. I need to get that to somehow join together. I got some of this hose thinking this might do the trick because it's like reinforced, but then I got thinking about it. This PEX, it's not necessarily reinforced, but it's super solid compared to a hose that stretches out. This I'm sure stretches some, but it's not going to stretch enough to probably really matter. So now I can just put some hose clamps on it. Well, that looks like a hack job and a half, but it'll probably work for a little while. I'm gonna try to see if I can get a custom cable made up for this. It's gonna be kind of weird because it's got like a threaded end on this end, and then, well, I guess it's got a threaded end on that end too. I got this all back together and it's working good. The next thing I should address on this plow is going to be on this trip edge right here. There's a spring missing. It's all loose. You should have some tension on these. I'm going to put this one in first before I set the tension, but you should be able to put a piece of paper in between each coil there. Bro, come here. Right here. Bro, right here. Hey. Watch out, Pearl. Hey, come here. What's up, Pearl? Pearl, who's that? Who's that, Pearl? Who's that? Who's that, Pearl? Get him. Get him, Pearl. Pearl, who's that? Who's that, Pearl? Yeah, it's like 60 degrees outside right now. And then, of course, a blizzard's coming. You still got it, Pearl. Because these skid steers have a lot of flow, I'm going to put a pressure reducing valve in here. So all it is 1/2 inch on both sides, and then you got your adjustment on the top. So I'm going to put it right next to the quick couplers here. That way when I take the plow off the machine, it's with the plow and it doesn't stay with the machine, because I don't really need it for anything else. I guess I could put it on the machine end and just leave it turned all the way up and then turn it down for the plow, but I don't think you really need it for anything else. And the reason I need them is because when you hit the lever, it just swings all the way. And it's especially bad when your throttle is up. If you're idling, it's not so bad, but if you're in the middle of plowing, you're probably not going to be idling, so it's a good idea to put these in. I think a crossover relief valve is actually more for if you have one side that hits real quick and it like shoves the cylinder in. Instead of breaking the cylinder, the crossover relief valve will send some of the fluid to the other side. So I don't even know if that's going to slow it down from turning. So I think this is really the best option. Ideally, I guess both of them would be a good option at the same time, but I don't really see the need to do that just for a plow. I'm only going to use this a few times a year. I'm not very concerned with how this plow looks, but I did want to patch a few spots like that and that, and then the top here is kind of rugged looking. There's two pieces of steel here. The bottom one is a little thicker than the top one, and because there's two pieces there, the rust formed in the middle and like bulged it out. I'm not really too concerned about it, but I hate painting things that aren't really ready for it. So I guess I'm just gonna cut along here. That way I can get all this rust that's sandwiched in between there. press the left pedal all the way forward, it locks into place, and then you can take your foot off. And that's in float mode, and that means the boom is going up and down as it needs. The only pressure it has down is like the weight of it, and that's it. As you're going over humps, it's going to go up and down and follow the contour. So kind of like the best of both worlds when you weld this solid as well as use your float, because you have both options. You can either take the float off and have some down pressure, or put the float on and then it floats over all the little humps. This whole setup worked pretty good. I've never really done a whole lot of plowing, but for me it worked really good. I took those chains off, they weren't doing anything. Those flow reducing valves, they really helped a lot. They make it so you can slam the lever and still have control over it and it doesn't go too fast. One thing I did notice is that you have to keep that frame level with the ground. That really helps a lot. If you don't have it level with the ground, the trip edge keeps tripping a lot. But if you have it pretty flat, the trip edge seems to hold up good. I'm sure that other spring that I put in there helped, but also just having the right angle helps too. And it's pretty rough around here. I don't have any pavement or anything. I barely have even a finished driveway. So there's like ruts from mud and stuff all over, and once in a while it does trip, but not near as much as it was the other day when I was trying it. But that's because I didn't know that you had to keep that frame level like that. These gussets right here, I think they work pretty good. Normally have to put a gusset in going that way and then that way, but I'm like splitting it in half. I gave it a quick little paint job, nothing special, but I figured if I'm going to do some work on it, I might as well protect it a little bit anyways. I probably only use this like a half a dozen times a year, so it's not a huge accomplishment for me, but it's something that was laying around and I had intentions on doing it for like 3 or 4 years now, so I finally did it, so now it's done. Overall though, I think this was a good deal. I got this plow for pretty much nothing. I got it with a truck that I bought for $500, and I needed the truck for other parts, so this kind of came with it. It wasn't able to be used on the truck because of the pump, and the frame on the truck was bad, so I just took the rest of it and made use of it. And then I got about $200 in the hoses, the flow reducers, and what else? The spring, and then a couple cans of paint. That's it. So not a bad deal.